on black protesters mourning the murders of their leaders. Moore once penned an essay published in Ebony faulting black people for their extraordinary tolerance of the growing army of black criminals. The black community, he wrote, needed a massive re-education campaign to expose black criminals for what they are, not heroes, but deadly enemies. Despite Moore's law and order politics and identification with hard-working black people who just wanted their ghettos back, his tough demeanor backfired. Blamed for the jail's many failures, including the escape of 38 people, he was shamed, arrested, and fired from his job under allegations that he beat 3 prisoners, a political move that esteemed black journalist Vernon Jarrett called the return of Dunk the Darky. Moore was subjected to a very public trial and considerable public scorn. And while the charges were dropped, the damage had been done. The city founded by a black ex-convict tried to convict its first black jailer. That Moore was tried in the courthouse he helped to fill reveals much about American so-called race relations and the uneven administration of what we've misrecognized as justice. The word justice suggests some harm repaired or some truth revealed, but 95% of all court cases end in a plea deal after a person has spent anywhere from several weeks to several years in a cage. Of the 2.3 million people who are incarcerated, 40% are black, 84% are poor, and half have no income at all. The 2,626 people who have been exonerated since 1989 spent an average of 9 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. Nearly half are black, and almost all of them are poor. It is clear to anyone paying attention that the legal system does not administer anything resembling justice, but instead manages the nation's problemed populations. This is the weight and history of punishment in the United States, which poor people encounter before their arrests. To live through mass incarceration is to take part in a lineage of control that can be traced from the slave ships through the Jim Crow South to the ghettos of the North and to the many millions of almost always filled bunk beds in jails and prison cells that make the United States the world's leading jailer. Neither Moore nor DuSable fully rebounded from their encounters with the law. This is because a history of arrest, whether it leads to a conviction or not, whether the conviction is overturned or not, is just like any other history, especially those told inaccurately. It need not be well understood, or even true, to exercise power. The history of punishment in black incarceration, of racism and the production of race, the whole history of crime and criminality, haunt the people we've accused of crimes. It whispers into the ears of prospective employers and landlords, urging them to reject applications. And it whispers into the ears of grandmothers and girlfriends as they make life or death decisions on behalf of their loved ones, forcing them to withhold a couch to sleep on or risk eviction to help them because the state has labeled the people they care for most criminals. Mass incarceration has changed the social life of the city. It has filtered into the most intimate relationships and deformed the contours of American democracy, one poor and most often black family at a time. Winston Moore was a member of the political elite, a man who, through his long list of connections, could avoid getting caught in the Leviathan's teeth. He was arrested and fired twice, once under scandal and once for criticizing his employer. But Moore, who could hire an attorney, did not spend a single night in jail. And while you can ask any Illinois governor if the occupant of that office can survive a brush with the law, the experiences of the political class, like those of the economic elite, are far from typical. Rod Blagojevich, who was an attorney and the most recent governor in Illinois to be convicted, went to federal prison for trying to sell President Barack Obama's vacant Senate seat in 2008. He was caught on tape soliciting bribes and was convicted in federal court, but he somehow found the time between his trial and incarceration to appear on Donald Trump's reality TV show, Celebrity Apprentice. Trump granted Blagojevich clemency in the 3rd year of his presidency. If we really wish to know how justice is administered, James Baldwin tells us in No Name in the Street, we must go to the unprotected, those precisely who need the law's protection most, and listen to their testimony. Ask the wretched how they fare in the halls of justice. He writes, and then you will know, not whether or not the